This is what happened when Patty Loveless, at 68 years old, walked onto the CMA Awards stage on November 19, 2025, for the first time in years. The country music legend, who had largely disappeared from public life, returned for one person, Vince Gill, as she sang When I Call Your Name alongside Brandi Carlile. Vince, receiving the Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award, sat in the audience visibly emotional, tears streaming down his face. For 40 years, these two voices have created some of the most haunting harmonies in country music history. Yet they only recorded one official duet together. They planned a full album in the early 90s that mysteriously never happened. They've sung at each other's most important moments: weddings, funerals, Hall of Fame inductions. Yet many fans don't even know the depth of their connection. Both turned 68 in 2025. Both came from Appalachian coal mining families. Both found their way to Nashville against all odds. And both have consistently said the same thing about each other for 4 decades. That singing together feels like family. But what does that really mean? And why, despite obvious chemistry that won them Grammys and CMA Awards, did they never become the duet partnership everyone expected? Today, I'm going to tell you the complete story of Patty Loveless and Vince Gill, from a bold prediction at a meet-and-greet booth in 1985 to that emotional tribute in 2025. Fanfare, Nashville, 1985. Vince Gill was sitting at a meet-and-greet booth as an up-and-coming RCA Records artist. He'd had some success, but his big breakthrough was still years away. Patty Loveless was nobody, just another hopeful singer from Kentucky trying to get a record deal in Music City. According to Vince's own words at Patty's Country Music Hall of Fame induction ceremony in October 2023, she walked right up to him and said something he'd never forget. "I like your singing. Someday I'm gonna sing with you." Vince admitted his first thought was, "Yeah, right, sure, whatever." But Patty wasn't making small talk. She was making a promise. And she had an advantage Vince didn't know about yet. There was a man named Emory Gordy Jr. who had just produced Vince's first 2 albums for RCA in 1984 and 1985. Gordy had also played bass in the Cherry Bombs alongside Vince. This same man was about to become Patty's producer when she finally landed her MCA Records deal in 1986. And in February 1989, Emory Gordy Jr. would become Patty's husband, a marriage that's lasted over 36 years. So when Patty said she'd sing with Vince someday, she wasn't just dreaming. She was connected to his world in ways he didn't realize. By 1987, Patty's predictions started coming true. Vince provided backing vocals on her debut album. Then in 1988, he sang on If My Heart Had Windows, her first top 10 hit. The following year, he contributed to Timber, I'm Falling in Love, which became Patty's first #1 single. They were building something trade by trade. Vince would sing on Patty's records, and she'd return the favor on his. But in 1989, everything changed with one song. Vince had written When I Call Your Name with Tim Du Bois. It's a haunting song about loss and longing, and it needed a specific kind of harmony. Not just any voice, but the right voice. Someone who could blend seamlessly while bringing their own authentic Appalachian soul to the track. He called Patty. What they created together became Vince Gill's breakthrough hit. When I Call Your Name peaked at #2 on the country charts and won the Grammy Award in 1991. But more than that, it revealed something magical about their voices together. Years later, in 2015, Vince tried to explain it to the Houston press. To me, one of the most seamless-sounding partners has been Patty Loveless. There's something magical about our voices together that I was always drawn to. He compared them to the great duet partnerships in country music history, George Jones and Tammy Wynette, the Everly Brothers, the Louvin Brothers. Then he said something revealing. Those sounded so amazing because they were seamless. They were like one person, 2 voices that became one sound. By the early 1990s, both Patty and Vince were on MCA Records. Both were at the peak of their careers. Patty was racking up #1 hits. Vince was becoming one of country music's most awarded artists. And the label had an idea. What if they recorded a full duet album together? According to Patty, it almost happened. We were selecting songs and having meetings with record executives, she recalled. MCA was all worked up for it. So what happened? Why don't we have that album? In 1992, Patty left MCA for Epic Records, part of Sony. The timing wasn't random. She'd just undergone vocal cord surgery in October 1992, a serious procedure that threatened her entire career. When she recovered and signed with Epic, the window for the MCA duet album closed forever. It's one of country music's great what-ifs. If that album had happened, would Patty Loveless and Vince Gill be remembered today alongside Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn, George Jones and Tammy Wynette? Patty herself addressed this years later, clarifying something important. People think Vince Gill is my official duet partner, like Conway and Loretta, and it's true that we sang back up on each other's records, but we only made one duet. One official duet. After all those years of harmonies and traded vocals and Grammy wins together, just one. That one duet finally came in 1998. My Kind of Woman / My Kind of Man appeared on Vince's album, The Key and Patty's compilation classics. It's a playful, flirtatious song, completely different from the emotional depth of When I Call Your Name or the spiritual weight of Go Rest High on That Mountain. The song won the CMA Vocal Event of the Year in 1999 and earned a Grammy nomination. Critics loved it, fans loved it, but it remained their only official duet, one song in a 40-year partnership. Why? Vince offered a clue in that same 2015 interview. I think we only maybe did one real duet together over all these years, but we both sang on each other's first hit records. I sang backgrounds on probably 15 or 20 of her records over the years. 15 or 20 records. Decades of collaboration. But always in the background. Always supporting each other's solo work rather than stepping forward as a partnership. Patty explained her perspective to Country Music Cruise in 2018. Singing with Vince is like singing with family. We just blend really well. Family. That word keeps coming up when they talk about each other. To understand what family really means between Patty and Vince, you need to know about Go Rest High on That Mountain. Vince wrote this song in 1989 after the death of bluegrass legend Keith Whitley, who was Patty's friend and had also been discovered by the same Kentucky musician who found Patty, her brother's friend. But Vince couldn't finish it. The grief was too heavy, the emotions too raw. He put the song away for 5 years. In 1993, Vince's older brother Bob died of a heart attack. Suddenly, the unfinished song demanded to be completed. Vince knew exactly who he needed to sing it with him: Patty Loveless and Ricky Skaggs. When Go Rest High on That Mountain was released in 1994, it became something beyond a hit record. It became country music's funeral song, the song sung at memorial services across America. It won CMA Song of the Year in 1996 and 2 Grammy Awards. But the real test of what this song meant came on April 26, 2013, at the Grand Ole Opry House. George Jones, the greatest country singer who ever lived, had died. At his memorial service, Patty and Vince were asked to perform Go Rest High on That Mountain together. Patty later revealed what happened. Going in, I thought I would be the one to lose it and he'd have to pull me through. I saw he was breaking up on Go Rest High on That Mountain, and I knew I'd have to hold myself together. The adrenaline kicked in. We couldn't both break apart. Vince broke down crying in the middle of the song. Patty held strong, carrying them both through. Afterward, Vince told her something that explains everything about their partnership. You know what got to me? As soon as you started singing, that's when I broke. Her voice. The voice he'd first heard at that fanfare booth in 1985 had become so intertwined with his most emotional moments that hearing it opened floodgates he couldn't control. After 2009, Patty Loveless largely stepped away from the music industry. She released Mountain Soul 2 that year with Vince guesting on it, and then silence. She didn't retire because of declining popularity. She didn't leave because of industry politics. She left for Emery. Patty explained in 2023, "There have been a couple of times that I thought I was going to lose Emery, and I'm so thankful that he's still here with me." Her husband's ongoing health issues took priority over everything else. She and Emery moved to a 170-acre property in rural Georgia, far from Nashville, far from the spotlight. Meanwhile, Vince's career continued expanding. He joined the Eagles in 2017 following Glenn Frey's death. He continued performing with the Time Jumpers. He kept making solo records. In October 2025, he even signed a lifetime recording deal with MCA Records at age 68. The two legendary voices that had blended so seamlessly for decades were now living completely separate lives. Patty in rural Georgia caring for her husband, Vince still touring the world. But that didn't mean the connection was broken. October 22, 2023, the Country Music Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Patty Loveless was finally being honored with country music's highest recognition, joining Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, and the legends who came before. Who did she choose to induct her? Vince Gill. Vince stood on that stage and told the story of meeting her at Fanfare in 1985. He told the audience about her bold prediction that they'd sing together someday. And then he said something that summarized 40 years in one sentence. It always felt like she was the little sister I always wanted to sing with. Little sister. Not duet partner. Not collaborator. Family. He continued, "The career she's had is magical because I think Patty possesses maybe the most authentic voice I might have ever heard." Then came November 19th, 2025, the CMA Awards. Vince was receiving the Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award, the pinnacle recognition of a career that included 22 Grammy Awards, 18 CMA Awards, and over 30 million albums sold worldwide. Patty Loveless, who hadn't performed publicly in years, returned one more time. When Patty walked onto that CMA Awards stage last month, she wasn't speaking up about anything scandalous. She wasn't revealing secrets or settling scores. She was simply showing up for her friend the way she had for 40 years, with her voice the most authentic voice Vince had ever heard. She called him my buddy, performed the song that started it all, and reminded everyone watching why these two voices together, even after all these years, still sound like one person. That's not controversy. That's not drama. That's something rarer in the music industry. A 40-year friendship built on mutual respect, shared roots, and the kind of vocal chemistry that can't be manufactured or explained, only experienced. Both Patty Loveless and Vince Gill turned 68 in 2025. Both came from coal mining families in Appalachia. Both found their way to Nashville. Both became legends. And both, when it mattered most, showed up for each other. That's the real story, and it's better than any clickbait headline could ever promise.